for a moment.
Okay.
So we're talking about ground covering, and we're saying, is Tink, it's called tracking up, by the way.
Tracking up. Got it.
Is Tink tracking up and using her back at the walk? So if we look at her feet, her hind legs are landing in the print of her front legs, so she's tracking up.
Okay.
So did you ever hear of tracking up, under tracking, and over tracking?
No.
No, okay. Well, so this is tracking up. Under tracking would be, let's slow her walk down a little bit. There. So now she's under tracking.
Okay.
Just ever so slightly. There's an under track. So under tracking, now she's tracking up. So under tracking is when the hind leg does not land in the print of the front leg,
Okay.
taking a full range of motion. That's tracking up. I don't know which I was talking about. Under tracking is when it doesn't. Tracking up is when it does. It's tracking up into the prints of the front legs.
Okay.
So let's ask her to really walk on. Go on. Right, just kick, kick. There. Now you see her over tracking. Her hind legs are stepping beyond the prints of her front legs.
Okay.
So if the horse is tracking up or over tracking, that's good, right? Like if I was to buy a horse, you want to make sure it has a great walk. It should minimally track up at the trot. And of course, this has nothing to do with the canter.
Right.
Okay? So this is why you want your horse to go forward. Forward means ground covering. Ground covering means tracking up.
Okay.
Remember when I was giving that talk, I said, what does through mean?
Yes.
Nobody knows what through
Right.
means, right? Yeah. Through means the horse is coming through, tracking up, coming through you.
Okay.
And then it would be like through its whole body.
Okay.
So we get the horse to track up minimally, right? And then we gather up the reins and we try to keep the horse tracking up when we gather up the reins. But what happens when we go to gather up the reins typically?
She lifts her head.
Well, she lifts her head, she slows down, she hollows her back, right? So right there is just classic, right? So what we want to do as future dressage riders is keep the hind end engaged by tracking up and using itself, right? And then be able to keep the horse round in the front end. So remember, I probably used that word unconstrained,
Yes.
right? So what people do, they get on their horse, they constrain it, right? We want our horse to be unconstrained when we ride it,
Okay.
by not smushing its gaits. Got it?
Okay. Yes.
Okay? Good. All right, so that's enough video there.